Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. You know how much we love to geek out over here, and today we've got a really fascinating one.
Oh, yeah. Definitely a lot of buzz around this one.
We're going to diving into this new tool called EHCP Plus and trying to understand what it is, how it works, and why it's causing such a stir in local authorities.
Yeah, it's a great topic, especially for those who work with children with special educational needs.
Especially for those who work with SEND. Now, we've got a ton of stuff to work with here. We've got articles and videos and even some internal reports.
Really interesting mix of sources for this one.
Should give us a good, well-rounded picture of what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a great example of how AI is being used to try to improve, people's lives and the efficiency of services and things like that.
Yeah. So let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
What exactly is EHCP Plus? What problem is it trying to solve?
Okay, so EHCP Plus, it's basically this AI-powered tool that's designed to help streamline the process of creating education, health, and care plans.
EHCPs.
Okay. Exactly. And, for those who might not be familiar, EHCPs are these legally binding documents that outline the support that a child with special educational needs might need to thrive in school.
So like if a child has a learning disability or a physical disability or maybe some social or emotional challenges that they're facing.
Exactly. It brings together everyone involved, the parents, the teachers, therapists, social workers, everyone, to try to create this roadmap for that child's success.
So it's kind of like a personalized plan tailored to each child's individual needs.
You got it. And because it's legally binding, it makes sure that the child is entitled to receive that support, that they're going to get what they need.
That makes a lot of sense. And I can imagine that these plans could be quite complex and time-consuming to put together.
Oh, absolutely.
Is that where EHCP Plus comes in?
That's exactly where it comes in. So you think about all the information involved, right? You got reports from teachers, you got reports from specialists, you got medical records, you got parental input. It's a ton of paperwork.
It's a mountain of paperwork, yeah.
A mountain of paperwork. And that's all before they even start drafting the plan itself.
Right.
So EHCP Plus steps in to help streamline that whole process.
So it's like having a really efficient assistant helping sort through all those documents and pull out the key information.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It uses AI to analyze all those documents and identify the key information and actually generate a first draft of the EHCP.
So it's not just copying and pasting from different documents.
Yeah.
It's actually like understanding the information.
Right. It's understanding the information and creating a plan based on what it's learning.
That's amazing. So it's not replacing the caseworker, but it's giving them like a massive head start.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a crucial point because human expertise is still essential. EHCP Plus is a tool to support the caseworkers, not to replace them.
Right.
It frees up their time so they can focus on the things that really matter, building relationships with families, understanding those nuances of each child's needs, and, fine-tuning that plan to make sure it's really personalized.
So working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. And one of the key things that EHCP Plus does is that it tackles that mountain of paperwork head on. It allows caseworkers to upload all sorts of different documents, PDFs, Word docs, images, whatever they've got.
And the AI can just handle it.
And the AI can just handle it.
Wow, that sounds like a dream come true for so many caseworkers I know.
It really does. And on top of that, it also helps ensure consistency across EHCPs, which is really important.
How so?
Well, the AI can be programmed with the latest best practices and legal requirements, so, you're less likely to have those variations between plans.
Right, so it's not just up to each individual caseworker.
Exactly. It's a more standardized approach across the board.
Okay, so it's efficient, it's consistent, and it frees up time for caseworkers to focus on those human elements.
Exactly.
I like it. But how does this actually work in practice? What are the steps involved in actually using EHCP Plus?
So it's actually a surprisingly simple process. There's 3 main steps.
Okay.
First, the caseworker securely uploads all the relevant documents.
Makes sense.
Second, the AI does its thing. It analyzes the documents and generates a tailored first draft of the EHCP.
Okay.
And then finally, the caseworker reviews and refines that draft, making sure it, accurately reflects the child's needs and aligns with their professional judgment.
So it's kind of like a super-powered brainstorming partner.
Yeah.
Like the AI does the heavy lifting of pulling out the information and structuring the plan, but the caseworker's still in the driver's seat, making sure it all comes together properly.
That's a perfect analogy. And, because each CP Plus is designed to work within existing workflows, it's not, this huge upheaval to adopt.
Oh, that's okay.
It's designed to be integrated into what people are already doing.
That's reassuring.
Yeah.
I imagine some people might be a little bit hesitant about bringing AI into such a sensitive and human-centered process.
Sure.
But it sounds like EHCP Plus is designed to be like a collaborative tool,
Yeah,
enhancing human expertise rather than replacing it.
absolutely. And I think that's key to its potential success.
Yeah.
It's not about handing over control to the machines. It's about using technology to empower caseworkers to do their jobs even better.
I like that. Empowerment. That's a good word for it.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the what and the how of EHCP Plus,
Right.
but I'm curious about the why. What sparked the development of this tool in the first place? Was it born out of a specific need or challenge?
Well, if you look at the landscape of SEND services in recent years, there's been a pretty significant increase in demand.
So more children needing EHCPs.
Exactly. In fact, there's been a 55% increase in demand for SEND services since 2017.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, it's a huge strain on local authorities and on caseworkers who are already really stretched thin.
Yeah, I can only imagine more assessments,
Yeah.
more paperwork, more pressure to meet deadlines.
Right. It's a recipe for burnout.
Yeah.
And that's precisely why EHCP Plus was developed, a direct response to these growing demands on SEND services.
So it's not just about efficiency for the sake of efficiency.
No.
It's actually about addressing a real and pressing need in the SEND system.
Exactly. And, the developers of EHCP Plus, they've estimated that it could potentially save an average of 6 hours per plan, which is a huge amount of time. If you think about that nationally, what that could mean.
6 hours per plan. That's like giving each caseworker an extra day in their week.
It really is, yeah. It's about shifting the focus from paperwork to people.
Okay, I love that. So we've talked about the process, the benefits, and the motivation behind EHCP Plus. But what about the development of the tool itself? Was it created, in a lab somewhere, or was it more of a collaborative effort?
It was definitely a collaborative effort. The team behind EHCP Plus, they knew from the start that they couldn't just create this tool in isolation.
Right.
They worked really closely with SEND teams across the country, involving caseworkers in every step of the development process.
That makes a lot of sense. You want to make sure that the tool is actually meeting the needs of the people who are going to be using it every day.
Exactly. So they wanted to create something that was not only efficient, but also user-friendly and genuinely helpful for caseworkers.
Okay.
They used real EHCP examples, gathered feedback from caseworkers, what worked, what didn't, and constantly refined the tool based on that input.
So it was really a ground-up development process shaped by the expertise of the people on the front lines of SEND services.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so optimistic about EHCP Plus, because it's not just a theoretical solution, cooked up in a boardroom.
Right.
It's a practical tool that's been designed with real-world needs in mind.
It sounds like they really put a lot of thought and care into making sure this would be a valuable asset for SEND teams.
They did.
But before we get too carried away with all the potential benefits, I'm curious, did they actually put this to the test? Was there like a pilot program to see how EHCP Plus worked in practice?
Yes, there was. Essex County Council, they ran a pilot project to see how it would perform in a real-world setting.
Okay. And what were the results? Did it live up to the hype?
The results were very promising. The caseworkers who were involved in the pilot, they reported saving, significant amounts of time using EHCP Plus.
Wow.
And they were generally very happy with the quality of the AI-generated drafts.
That's great.
And they also noticed an improvement in the consistency of the plans being produced, which is a big win for, ensuring fairness and equity across the board.
That's incredible. It sounds like the pilot was a real success.
Yeah.
Were there any challenges or unexpected hiccups along the way? I mean, it's a new technology, so I imagine there must have been a few learning curves.
There were definitely some teasing problems, as you'd expect with any new technology.
Right.
The pilot highlighted some areas where the tool needed, further development to ensure it was consistently producing those high-quality outputs.
I see.
For example, there were some instances where the AI struggled to accurately interpret certain types of information,
Okay.
or where the output wasn't quite aligned with the specific requirements of Essex County Council.
So it wasn't perfect right out of the gate.
No technology ever is. True.
But the important thing is that the team behind EHCP Plus was incredibly receptive to feedback.
Okay, that's good.
They viewed the pilot as a learning opportunity, a chance to identify those areas for improvement and make sure the tool was truly meeting the needs of caseworkers.
So they were actively incorporating feedback and making adjustments as they went along?
Exactly. They made a number of tweaks to the back-end systems to improve the accuracy and consistency of the outputs.
Okay.
And they also made some changes to the user interface based on the feedback from the caseworkers, making it even more user-friendly and intuitive.
That's great. It shows they're committed to making this tool work for the people who will be using it.
Absolutely. They're not just, throwing a piece of technology over the wall and walking away.
Right.
They're actively involved in ensuring its success.
Well, that's a really great sign. It sounds like they're really dedicated to making EHCP Plus a valuable resource for SEND teams.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that's really impressive about this whole project. Now, before we move on to part 2, I want to take a moment to dive a little deeper into some of the specific features of EHCP Plus that make it so unique.
Okay.
What are some of the standout elements that really set this tool apart from other solutions out there?
One of the things that really impressed me about EHCP Plus is its commitment to transparency and accountability.
Okay.
It includes this feature called citations, and basically what it allows caseworkers to do is easily track where the information in the AI-generated draft is coming from.
So if there's a statement about a child's communication needs in the draft, the caseworker can quickly see which document that information was pulled from.
Exactly, and even view the original source material.
That's amazing.
It's like having a built-in detective for your EHCP.
I love that.
You can quickly trace the origins of every piece of information, which is, crucial for ensuring accuracy and making informed decisions.
Right, and especially valuable for things like tribunals, where it's essential to have that clear audit trail.
Exactly.
Okay, what other features are worth highlighting?
So another aspect of EHTP Plus that stands out is its flexibility.
Okay.
It's designed to accommodate the unique needs and preferences of different local authorities.
What do you mean by that? Can you customize the content of the EHCP?
Not the content itself, but the structure.
Oh, okay.
So, different local authorities often have slightly different templates or ways of organizing their EHCPs.
Right.
And EHCP Plus allows you to adjust the order of sections in the output document to make sure it aligns with your specific requirements.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Yeah.
It can be adapted to fit the specific workflow of each local authority.
Precisely. It's about making the tool as user-friendly and efficient as possible for the people who are actually using it.
That's a really smart design feature. It shows they've really thought about the practicalities of integrating this tool into different working environments.
Yeah, and it's essential when you're dealing with, such a complex and varied system.
Absolutely. Are there any other features that are particularly noteworthy?
Yeah, I think it's also worth mentioning the audit trail functionality.
Okay.
So every edit and change made to that AI-generated draft is tracked and logged within the system.
Oh, wow.
Which means you can see who made what changes and when, which is incredibly helpful for things like quality assurance and supervision.
It's like having a built-in quality control system.
You could say that. And it also helps to ensure that everyone involved in the process is on the same page and working from the most up-to-date version of the plan.
Okay, so we've talked about citations, customizable structure, and the audit trail. Are there any other hidden gems we should know about?
Well, one thing that's really impressed me is the team's commitment to ongoing development and improvement.
Oh, that's fantastic.
They're constantly listening to feedback from caseworkers and making changes to the platform based on that feedback.
So it's not a case of set it and forget it. They're actively working to make it better based on real-world usage.
Exactly. They've already implemented a number of changes based on the feedback from the Essex pilot. And they're continuing to explore new features and ways to improve the user experience. For example, they're currently working on a feature that will allow caseworkers to easily reference advice from specific professionals within the EHCP.
That's interesting.
So you could directly quote a recommendation from an educational psychologist or a speech and language therapist.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And making it crystal clear, where the information is coming from and why certain decisions are being made.
That would make the EHCPs much more comprehensive and transparent.
Absolutely.
It sounds like the EHCP Plus team is really thinking ahead and anticipating the needs of caseworkers.
They really are. And that's what makes me so optimistic about the potential of this tool. They're not just trying to create a quick fix.
Right.
They're genuinely invested in creating a sustainable solution that will make a real difference in the lives of children and families.
I love that. It's clear that a lot of heart has gone into the development of this tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive. We've talked about what EHCP Plus is, how it works, the problems it's designed to solve, and some of its standout features.
Yeah, it's been a great overview.
But this is just the beginning. Join us for part 2, where we'll delve into the potential impact of EHCP Plus on children and families and explore the broader implications of AI in local government. It's going to be a fascinating discussion, so stay tuned.
Definitely lots more to discuss.